Good evening. Coming up tonight, we'll fill you in on what's happening in and outside the Palmetto State. Homecoming weekend is on the horizon.
And the Gamecocks football team picked up a big win in Oklahoma.
But first, South Carolina's early voting records were broken.
We'll have all that and more on the Sumter Street Scoop. Welcome to this week's Sumter Street Scoop. I'm Amanda Anderson.
And I'm Karenna Porter. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Early voting in South Carolina kicked off on Monday, October 21st, and the state has already set new records. Over 120,000 votes were cast on Monday, which exceeds the record from 2022 by 50,000. Richland and Lexington counties in particular had some of the highest turnouts in the state, with 9,000 votes from Richland and 6,000 from Lexington. Despite the surge in participation, the polling locations have been running smoothly. Early voting will continue through November 4th, with the election day being on Tuesday, November 5th. Voters are reminded to bring a valid photo ID, such as a driver's license or passport, and are encouraged to review their sample ballots ahead of time to speed up the process.
Now, I think it's great that South Carolinians are getting out and voting. I personally just early voted in North Carolina, and I think records are being broken there too. Super great.
Yeah, I agree, and I really just love that everyone's voting in South Carolina.
Mary Ross Alexander, USC's Associate Vice President for Student Health and Wellbeing, resigned after being indicted on federal tax charges. A federal grand jury in Nashville, Tennessee, charged Alexander with 11 counts of failing to pay more than $1 million in employment taxes. The indictment stems from her time as president of Ross Behavioral Group, a mental health counseling center in Tennessee. Alexander allegedly withheld employee taxes from 2015 to 2020, but did not pay them to the IRS. USC hired her in 2023 to oversee student well-being. Yesterday was her last day at USC, according to a university spokesperson. Alexander faces up to 5 years in prison per count if convicted. Coming up after the break, SGTV weather reporter Pflugrath has this week's forecast. You don't want to miss it. Stay with us.
Good afternoon, South Carolina. Thanks for joining me as we take a look at our nation's weather right now. As you see up here in the Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Boise, a little bit chilly. You know, they're experiencing some fall weather drops. Make our way down the coast and whoa, find ourselves in Phoenix. They did not get the memo that we're in fall. 96 degrees. If you're a hockey team in Arizona, probably don't want to be there. As we make our way up to the North Midwest here, you see Minneapolis has got a little bit of purple rain. A little bit of drops in Chicago there as well. Make our way down to Texas. Dallas actually experiencing some record high temperatures for this time of year. How about that? Going to take a look at the East Coast now. Again, some more fall weather up there in the New York, D.C. kind of metro area. Make our way down past lovely South Carolina into Atlanta. A lot of 80s in this little SEC area right here. Not to mention a little bit of light rain down there in Florida. Make sure you're watching out for that. Shouldn't be too bad though. Now, going to move on to our beautiful state of South Carolina, and as you can see, it is sunny with no chance of meatballs. Just like my music playlist, 80s all over the place. A little 79 in there, close enough, might as well be. Got sunny in Florence, sunny in Greenwood, sunny in Hilton Head, and sunny right here in Myrtle Beach. Of course, 84 in Columbia, and yeah, looking pretty good. Going to move on to what weather is looking like right now on Thursday, a little 79 degrees. It says waning gibbous there, but I was looking at the moon and it's kind of more of a third quarter if I'm being honest. Again, wind and humidity, not too much of a factor. Same with UV index. And gonna take a look forward at our week now. As you can see, tomorrow and Saturday, nice, beautiful days there in the 80s. Football is there, but not for us. South Carolina's got a bye. College game day is gonna be in Indiana. Watch out for that. Sunday, Monday, though, is where we get into this kind of fall weather here. Lots of clouds, 68, 71, lows in the 50s there. And make sure you wear your sweater for that. Tuesday, Wednesday, though, should warm up a little bit. By the end of the week, we should be looking at some more 80s. How about that? And yeah, that's our weekly forecast. After the break, we're going to send it over to Madison Harvey with a little SGTV athletics.
Freshman Joyce Edwards made a statement with 19 points, which was the most of any player for the Gamecocks. Chloe Kitts and Tahina Paopao scored 15 and 12 points respectively, with the Gamecocks winning by 43 points. On Saturday, Gamecock football took a huge win on the road over Oklahoma. Once again, the South Carolina defense shined with 9 sacks from 9 different players, 2 forced fumbles, and 2 interceptions. Nick Emanori was responsible for both interceptions, one of which he returned for a touchdown. He was recognized earlier this week as the SEC's Co-Defensive Player of the Week. His teammate, Tonka Hemingway, also earned SEC honors as the Co-Defensive Lineman of the Week. While there isn't a game this Saturday, there's plenty of Gamecock football to look forward to in the coming weeks. On November 2nd, South Carolina will be facing number 14 Texas A&M at home in a night game. That's followed by a November 9th road game at Vanderbilt, who just joined the AP Top 25 for the first time since 2014 at number 25. And now Gabrielle Cassini is in the studio to fill us in on local entertainment. What's up around Columbia, Gabrielle?
Thanks, Madison. And thanks for sticking with us, Gamecocks. As campus life resumes from fall break, Halloween and homecoming give much for students to look forward to for the rest of the month. On Friday, Carolina Productions will be getting into the Halloween spirit with a showing of the horror movie Quiet Place Day 1. Located in the Russell House Theater, be sure to stop by at 6:30 p.m. for free popcorn, drinks, and trivia before the movie. The film will begin at 7 p.m. and is expected to run until 9:30 p.m. You don't want to miss it. Following Friday's Scary Movie Night, on Monday, USC University Ambassadors will be hosting ghost tours from 7 to 9 p.m. You can expect to visit the most haunted spots on campus while the ambassadors embrace the tradition of dressing up as zombies or ghosts from the stories being told. Tours can be scheduled online through the Visitor Center, and last-minute walk-ins are also welcome. Homecoming weekend is approaching. From Friday, November 1st to Sunday, November 3rd, students, staff, and alumni are invited to celebrate the traditions of USC. This year's homecoming events entail a Gamecock gala, a tailgate party before the game against Texas A&M, and an LGBTQ alumni rainbow brunch. For more information, visit uofscalumni.org/homecoming. After the commercial, Karenna and Amanda will return to finish up tonight's news wrap.
The South Carolina chapter of the American Civil Liberties Union has filed a lawsuit against the South Carolina Department of Motor Vehicles and the State Election Commission. The ACLU said the SCDMV violated state law by denying over 17,000 eligible 17-year-olds the opportunity to register to vote. The prospective voters will be 18 by the 2024 general election, but were unlawfully denied registration, according to the ACLU. The lawsuit aims to add these wrongfully excluded voters to the rolls before November's election. The DMV acknowledged the issue but has not rectified it. South Carolina law allows 17-year-olds to register if they turn 18 before the next general election. The ACLU is calling on young voters to double-check their registration status.
Governor McMaster held a ceremony on Tuesday where he signed a bill that bans the possession of telecommunications devices by inmates in the South Carolina Department of Corrections. This legislation is a part of the state's ongoing efforts to crack down on illegal activities taking place behind bars. Cell phones have been a long, serious issue in South Carolina's prisons, with inmates using them to organize crimes, including escape attempts and contraband smuggling. Corrections officials have been pushing for this ban for years, citing dangerous incidents like the 2010 shooting of a former prison captain who was targeted in a hit ordered through an illegal cell phone. Governor McMaster hopes this legislation will prevent further tragedies and better protect the people of South Carolina from organized crimes behind prison walls.
Alike Columbia Apartments is now under new management. The student housing complex, now rebranded as the Radley, was recently featured in reports in SGTV Student News at 7 and Sumter Street Scoop after a shooting incident that occurred there on September 9th. The Facebook page for the Radley first posted on September 30th, which is 3 weeks after the shooting incident occurred. The complex's previous management announced that following the incident, the complex now has 24-hour security patrols. Resident Erin Danforth, who was injured as a result of the incident, shared with WLTX News 19 that she hopes to see further security improvements around the complex. Now, I think this is great that they're implementing these new measures to keep those students safer. I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, me too.
That wraps up tonight's edition of Sumter Street Scoop.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SGTV at USC.
To keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtv@usc.com. For SGTV, I'm Karenna Porter.
And I'm Amanda Anderson. Have a great night, Carolina. Forever to thee.